just got a cue from Ulla that it's time to speak because I can't hear when the music ends. So hello, everybody. We are ready for such a beautiful new episode for you. And today we are diving into the laws of life according to death. Oh my God. Yay. Yay, yay, yay to this, honey. Now, since you're the one person between the two of us that knows death very intimately because you have died and come back to life, take it away. Teach us. Give us the laws, honey. What are they?
Well, doesn't this sound really morbid? Like if you think about it as a human, as a quote unquote normal human being and not knowing me, it sounds really morbid, doesn't it?
It could, yeah.
Yeah.
Laws of life according to death. You're going to die.
Yes, exactly. Well, that is the only law in life, actually. You're going to die. Get over it. Not a single person has made it alive in life, period. And that's the main law. But the biggest laws according to death is that you are here to experience joy. You are here to expand. You are here only partially. You as a whole are not here in this physical body entirely. You are here only 20%. Like only 20% of you is here. The rest is where you're dead, where you're going to be when you die. And guess what? That never ceases to exist.
Say them all over again, honey. These are really juicy.
You are here to experience joy. What was the second one I said? You are here to expand. And you are here only 20%. Only 20% of you, the whole you that exists right now, only 20% of that is here in this physical body. 80% of you is in the ethers where you're going to disappear when you die.
Okay, so the ethers where you disappear when you die is referred to as your higher self for those of us in the spiritual world. So it doesn't mean that you cease to exist. It means that you go back to your spirit state. And I think this really piggybacks, honey, on how you've mentioned before that we are spiritual beings having a human experience. So where do you want to begin with this? How do we start to dive into this and unpack it for folks?
I think starting with the whole idea that only 20% of us, of me, of you is here. I'm like, it sounds weird to say only 20% of us is here. No, we're all here, but like only 20% of the being that I am, you are, is here right now. Because we tend to think that this is it, like, what we're experiencing in this physical body, this is it. And there's nothing more. And oh my God, what happens after this physical body is gone? What am I going to do? What's going to happen? Am I going to burn in the fires of hell for all eternity? Or am I going to go to some magical place based on the things that I did in this physical body?
Okay. And what's the answer?
The answer is that you're not going anywhere. Dun, dun, dun. It's sad, but it's true. You're not going anywhere, unfortunately. You're still going to be focusing on right here, right now, in this planet, on this planet, not necessarily on this planet, because you can actually go anywhere as a spirit, but mostly you will be focusing on here because there's still people here that you know and that you love, and you want to continue experiencing this life through them and with them.
Wow. Why? I'm like, I actually think that I'm done after I leave my body. I don't need to return back to this earth. So why would we want to hang around here? Why not just go somewhere else?
Because this is the place for expansion. This is the place. We are what I love what Abraham Hicks calls it, the leading edge of expansion. This is it. human beings on this planet are the leading edge of expansion and how the universe is expanding.
Okay. But what if I want to retire? Is that an option?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, you do you, boo. It's always you do you, boo. That never changes.
I remember getting a couple readings done by like the Akashic record readings. I know you're super into this, honey, or astrology readings, and being told that I actually do have the choice, which now I'm realizing every single one of us has a choice to decide if we're going to return into like another evolution of living a human existence or whatever. And that somehow my life cycle was complete and I was going to have the option to never return to Earth. And I'm like, yes, please. I prefer that one. But this is what I'm getting out of what you're saying, honey, so far, is that when we acknowledge that we are spiritual beings, and as spiritual beings, we do not have an end. We are infinite. That part of our purpose as spiritual beings is to continue to further our expansion in the universe. And that expansion is something that happens most potently here on Earth for whatever reason that Earth was picked out of all the planets or out of all the universes and all of the universes of existence. So the leading edge of expansion being here keeps us choosing to come back here to further our evolution as spiritual beings. Is that a good takeaway?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So one question that I imagine is coming up is like, well, how do you know, Ulla? So how do you know it's 20%? Like, who measured that?
I did. No. It's universal knowing. Once you get to experience death, as we all do, I get to experience it twice. All this knowledge, you are filled with this knowledge, and you just know that, oh my gosh, only 1/5 of me was actually there. And why was I so worried about all this? Like, it's all been taken care of the entire time.
Honey, is that why you don't worry?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
So you guys, if you're brand new to this podcast, you might be thinking, who the fuck are these two ladies and why are they talking all this woo-woo shit? But just a quick recap. Ulla did die when she was 23. She was dead for 20 minutes, clinically dead for 20 minutes, came back to life. You're now 30 years, almost 30 years. You had your 30-year anniversary already. Yes. So 30 years since then. And here you are able to continue the huge fucking gift of what you received when you died, which is there is no need to worry because it's all good. And you only having 20% of your spiritual being present in your human body. That's also, I think, for you, honey, very irrelevant because you're so connected to your full self, meaning our higher selves, what we call our higher selves. You are living life at the full capacity of your spiritual existence.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And it is possible for all of us. It takes practice. And especially on this podcast, we've been sharing all kinds of things that you can do to ease your mind and get more connected to your higher self. You can never be disconnected completely, ever. That's not possible. But you can pinch it to the bare minimum where you're barely breathing on this planet because you're so close to being disconnected. But yeah, you actually have a choice. You can choose every single day how you want to show up and how you want to feel. How connected are you? And it's really easy actually to know how connected you are. The better you feel, the more connected you are, the worse you feel, the less you are allowing that connection. The connection, like I said, it never disconnects completely. But when you feel really, really bad, that is a good sign for you that, wait, I am not allowing this connection to me that I have naturally.
Oh, honey, I love that. I mean, that's just such a good thing for me to keep in mind too, whenever I decide to like go into my ditches, and stare at my amputee pigeons at like, oh wait, why am I choosing to be super disconnected from my own self and my higher knowing, which is the higher knowing is this is all taken care of. And it brings us to the first law of life that you mentioned, which is we are here to experience joy, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So talk about that, because I would venture to say that the majority of people on this earth are not living in accordance to that law of life. So tell us more.
You're absolutely right. And most people tend to look things outside themselves or put their power outside themselves and say, I'll be happy if X happens. I'll be happy if Y pays more attention to me. It's always these different reasons. I'll be happy if this or that. And in the same space, when you're thinking about somebody else or something else outside you is the reason that you can only feel happy if, you're also pushing it further away. You don't realize that you have the power to feel happy or happier or better right this second. And it is a very, very conscious decision that you need to do, that you get to be happy right now, because we only have right now. It is the infinite now. We can't feel bad yesterday, or we can't feel better yesterday. We can't feel better tomorrow. We can only feel better right now.
Mm-hmm. And one thing that I know I've personally struggled with around this is that I feel that this message is easily misinterpreted as we're always meant to be happy, which now I think the part that people are left with a gap around is that, and I've learned this for you, honey, is that we choose to come to this earth as spiritual beings. We're here to have a human experience because for whatever reason, the earth is on the leading edge of expansion in the entire universe. And our purpose is to continue to expand. So if we come here and we're living our life, how do we expand? You have mentioned that we expand through contrast, and contrast is when we have experiences in life that we tend to say, I don't like this. But that moment of I don't like this is an opportunity to get clear on what you desire. And that dichotomy of what I don't like and what I desire is the contrast. Feeling the contrast of heartache, of loss, of grief allows you to deepen your experience of joy, of love, of connection. And so this is how what we go through in life becomes really important, that we not just convince ourselves that we need to be bliss bunnies. I think the part that I still don't understand, honey, as I'm listening to you is if the law of life is that we're here to experience joy, then I would say, well, then why do we have contrast? If we're here to experience joy, then why are we not just living in joy? And that's kind of what I heard you say, is we're here to be happy. We only have now, so be happy now. Can you break that down? Because that one still is like not fully clicking in my brain.
Yes, I love that you said that when you experience these so-called negative emotions, and we've mentioned before that no emotion is bad or good, negative or positive. It's just the energy you put into it. But when you experience these so-called negative emotions, the love, the joy that you will feel feels that much bigger because it expanded by allowing us as human beings to feel the contrast, which, by the way, is just information, and not dwelling in it, not staying in that energy. You expand the joy. And if you were just happy all the time, would you really be happy anymore? No.
Well, yes, because I'm happy all the time.
It would become stagnant, that feeling, because it's all the emotions are energy. That energy would become stagnant if it didn't expand. it's kind of like exercising. If you keep doing the same exercise over and over and over again, you're not like, your muscles are not getting any bigger. You're not getting in any better shape. You are just stagnantly staying in the same place. Same thing with your emotions.
You should tell that to my physical therapist that's telling me to do push-ups and sit-ups and squats every day. To me, that feels like stagnant energy.
How long have you been doing them?
A week.
Okay. You might need a little more time on that.
So, I mean, let's just use that metaphor of exercise. If I were to do squats and sit-ups and push-ups every day, I'm going to gain muscle.
Yeah.
So isn't that expansion?
Well, that is expansion, but like you're saying that does it feel good right now doing those sit-ups and push-ups?
No, but my point is not the feeling good. My point is are you saying that at some point I would get to a state where doing sit-ups, push-ups, and squats all of a sudden becomes stagnant and then I stop growing muscle?
Yeah, absolutely. You would have to add more push-ups and sit-ups in order to gain more muscle.
Got it. Okay. So connecting it back to emotions, to contrast, to all of that, it's the quote unquote negative experiences that actually allow us to expand our joy. And we are here to experience joy. So we are here to expand the joy that we allow ourselves to feel while we're living on earth.
Yes. And the love.
So you mentioned that a little bit earlier, that the universal now is right now. What does that mean? We only have now.
Because what you feel right now is the most important thing ever. And I'm actually going to bring this back to something we had a conversation a few days earlier when we talked about our Bliss Off Playground and what it is. And one of the big life, bigger than life questions that came up was, how have I can't remember exactly how you said it. Have I lived life so that I don't regret it when I die?
Yeah. Have I lived a life full of happiness so that I don't regret it when I die?
Right. So, a lot of times we keep pushing that happiness or feeling relief or feeling love especially towards ourselves, to somewhere in the future. And that's really, really common. Like, I don't have time. I don't have time to feel happy right now. Once I get all these tasks done at work, I'll feel happy. Or if I exercise a little bit more, then I'm going to be happy. And you just keep pushing it further away until, you are on your deathbed and you're like, well, fuck. I didn't get to experience the happiness that I wanted. Like, what happened? So it's really hard for whatever reason for us as human beings to realize that we need to do it now. And it like we just talked about what happy means. It doesn't have to mean that you're a bliss bunny at all times. It can mean that you feel a little bit of relief, a little bit better right this second. And you can, I promise you can find those things that make you just a tiny bit better everywhere that you go and where you are.
So what I get out of this is that the reminder that we only have now is, to me, an invitation to be present with my own experience in this very moment. And I think that in itself becomes the huge opportunity for the whole world that is so accustomed to disconnecting from the present moment because you're mulling shit over from the past, or you're worried about shit that's going to happen in the future, and you're running on narratives of stories that really were designed based on your past experience, which means that you're only projecting the past into the present and then regurgitating versions of the past for your future. So this way of disconnected living is so common because we are inundated with so much stress. And when your nervous system is stressed out and your mind is overwhelmed or filled to its brim, the very natural response is disconnection. unless you know how to regulate your nervous system, how to calm your mind, then that disconnected state just becomes your norm, right? And so to me, if I remember these three laws, which again, hopefully I actually can remember them. One is your purpose on this earth is to experience joy. Two, you only have right now. And three, only 20% of your full spiritual existence is here in this physical body. So it's really fucking important to develop a strong relationship with the other 80% of you. All of that is inviting me to look at my life through the lens of this broader perspective and be like, whoa, okay. So how aligned is the life that I've designed to allow myself to let in the joy? And you would know this really well, honey. Like there's many times that I actually prohibit the joy from coming in. My life is beautiful. My life is full of examples of how whenever I desire something, I get it. And even more so, like the potency of me having a desire and saying, Ulla, I want this, or why can't this just happen? And then it happens really, really fucking fast. I have so much evidence, but I still choose to use my energy worrying. I choose to question. I choose to look for how things are going to get fucked up next. I choose to focus on what doesn't feel good instead of allowing myself to feel the joy. So this is a huge reminder that we have choice in our lives. We have choice on how we feel. And the feeling of joy is our purpose here on earth. So how do we cultivate more of that feeling of joy? And to use that in perspective with life's really, really tough moments, honor those moments. When life is really shitty, don't run away from it. Don't try to shut it down. But remember, this shitty moment is giving me an opportunity to expand my joy. And that becomes this really beautiful way to flow through these moments that become really crunchy without staying there, identifying around them, and then projecting them onto the future. The present moment invitation is huge to live in the now. And I often go to the place of like, if I continue to put all my projections into the future, then I'm missing the moment to feel the love that I have right now. And to me, what comes up immediately is gratitude. So taking a pause right now to be grateful for this moment, grateful for anything that you can focus on, grateful for how things are evolving. And then, sweetie, one thing that you constantly teach me, which relates to the third law of realizing that I'm only 20% of all of Gladys in this body, is you are constantly encouraging me to dream bigger. You're constantly encouraging me to desire more. And that to me is a direct connection to me trusting and believing and then knowing that my higher self is not here to set me up for failure. My higher self is not trying. I don't know what I asked you yesterday, honey. And you're like, yeah, Gladys, totally. I'm totally throwing you under the bus. Cause I was like, honey, details don't matter. Your higher self is not here to throw you under the bus. So if things don't seem to be working out for you, or you feel like it's not worth your time to really expand your desires and expand what you think is possible for yourself, that's how you're limiting your connection to your higher self from playing a bigger role in your life. And honey, I would love for you to just share with people how your death experience allowed you to live a completely different life than what you were living previously to when you died. Can you just give us a before in terms of how you felt, what you believed was possible for yourself, and then an after, and how the after has sustained through 30 years?
Well, before, everything was very, very restricted, like energy wise, thinking about like what was possible, constantly hearing from people around, around me that, you can't do that. That's not possible. Ending up in a really, really bad abusive relationship, and then getting sick. And I mean, all of that was the culmination of restricting my own connection to my higher self. And I had no idea at that point that I even have a higher self. It was just like, okay, what? That doesn't exist. I don't think I ever even heard the word higher self before this. And it was just really small. And now that I think about it, like the feeling that comes in me, it's like, oh my God, I was trying to make myself so small, like tiny, 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 tiny in every possible way. And then afterwards, it's just completely opposite. It's completely opposite. It's everything is possible. Somebody tells me that, oh, you can't do that. I say, watch me. And I do it. Absolutely. And I very unforgivingly live life according to me. Not unforgivingly, unapologetically. I'm like, why am I unforgivingly living my life? No, unapologetically.
Just don't apologize for the mistake, honey.
Thanks, Elle. That's our dead Elle, by the way. She likes to come into our conversations and texts. Yes, unapologetically live life according to me and do things that I want to do, the way I want to do. And I'm also teaching this to my kids. And they are a prime example how kids can thrive when you give them permission to be themselves.
And also, you guys, because I've had just the huge privilege of having Ulla as my best friend for several years, is there's shit things that have happened to you, honey. I mean, it's not like these last 30 years have not been full of moments that I think most of us would be like, that would devastate me. I would never be able to XYZ as a result of that. And yet in these moments, a lot of them, which have happened in the last couple of years, very recently, you let yourself go to these places where you feel the realness of whatever experience you're having, but your ability to jump quickly back into that place of knowing that everything that's unfolding is for you is really powerful, honey. And I've learned so much from you because you are my permission slip to recognize that I can actually wake up in the morning and feel joyful. Instead of worrying about what didn't happen yesterday, what's going wrong, I can start my day with enthusiasm for what magic is going to unfold because I expect more magic to unfold because that is how I choose to live. And these are all things that I've learned from you that I'm practicing. And so it's an invitation to all of you to really see if you're willing to let life be totally different than what you're taught it had to be. And start by letting these laws of life according to death marinate for you. And one thing that I'm walking away with is also realizing that everything we've been taught about death is wrong. We've been conditioned to believe that death is something we need to fear, that death is bad. And as you said at the beginning, Ulla, no one got out of this life alive. So how about we create a new relationship with death? And my hope personally is that today you realized that everything that you've learned, Ulla, by dying actually is amazing. It's exciting. It's allowing us to live a completely different life and a life that is here to truly live out our purpose of being in joy. So thank you, honey, for sharing these amazing laws of life according to death and giving us a chance to really experience something completely different than how we've been conditioned to live up until this point.
It was my pleasure to die for you. How about that?
Oh my God, I love it. Everybody send a note to Ulla. Thank you for dying so we didn't have to. You sound like the Messiah, honey. You sound like the Messiah right now. Oh my God. All right, honey, any final thoughts as we wrap up today?
No, I think that's it.
All right, you guys, this is a lot to marinate on. I wouldn't be surprised if your brains have all shut down. So listen again, right? There's so much juiciness in here. This is truly just, it's so inspiring, honey. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. And we'll see you soon.